Hello there, I'm Ben. Today I wanted to talk about Star Wars, specifically the prequels and Yoda. And since I like it when Star Wars expanded content adds build up to different points in time, I will also try to do that. Almost everyone in the world knows Yoda. Okay, he's famous too, but I wanted to talk about the real Yoda. As I was saying, he's powerful, badass, charismatic, has a few goofy moments, and more than anything else, he's wise. But it took him quite a while to get there. In fact, he had to lose and make important mistakes to learn. And this is something we can see if we look at the prequels and then at the original trilogy. Unfortunately, some of the mistakes he had to learn from led to the downfall of the Jedi Order as he knew it. First, some context. The Sith had been extinct for 1,000 years at the time of the Phantom Menace. So for 1,000 years the Jedi were the only known group of elite Force users in the galaxy. So they were a very powerful organization. Considering their job is to be the protectors of the Republic, and the Republic itself is another very powerful organization, I doubt they had many massive complicated wars. So they naturally started serving the Republic in other means. For example, Qui-gon and Obi-Wan were meant to act as ambassadors at the beginning of the Phantom Menace. As a consequence of this, many Jedi got interested in politics and placed the Republic over the original duty of the Jedi Order, to serve the Force itself. At some point, a few years before the Phantom Menace, on this context I've just described, Yoda was named Grandmaster. It's also worth mentioning that Sidious was an active player on the Sith and on the political board. And if we take Legends context into the equation, Darth Plagueis was alive until Palpatine became Chancellor, and there's also Maul, which is obviously canon. So the Jedi Order had these already powerful and established hidden enemies, most likely before Yoda was the leader of the Jedi Order. The fact is, whoever was chosen as leader of the Order at that time would have been at a massive disadvantage against the Sith's plan. So anyone could have failed, and most likely everyone would have. I don't intend to criticize Yoda here. In fact, I think he's most likely the only one who could have stood a chance against Darth Sidious, and I'll explain why by explaining his mistakes. Sidious' plan was simple, at least to formulate: become Chancellor, create a war, get more power as Chancellor, get the Republican army, stab the Jedi in the back with said army, while they foolishly served the Republic, also known as you. Become Emperor, end war. He used a separatist for everything, and the Jedi all followed along. But Yoda could tell something wasn't right. In episode 2, it's Yoda who tells Obi-Wan a Jedi must have deleted Kamino from the archives. It's Yoda who recognized the Jedi and himself as being blinded for not noticing the creation of a clone army. It's Yoda who won't acknowledge victory at the end of episode 2 because the war has started. Yoda was the first Jedi in episode 2 to notice their mistakes, to realize they were being played, and that's why I think Yoda could have stood a chance against Sidious. Yoda could tell the future was dark, and in fact he saw it meditating. He even saw Vader. But there was apparently no way to fix it. The Jedi Order, and maybe even himself, were too stuck on that dynamic. Yoda kept an eye on a future he could not prevent because he did nothing to change the present problems. Problems that kept being exploited by Sidious time and time again, until he had everything he wanted. There's something else in Sidious' plan that I didn't mention before: Vader. It wasn't until Sidious had Vader that he activated Order 66 and claimed his place as Emperor. Sidious knew he would need a right hand, and he wanted it to be the most powerful Jedi, the chosen one. I've ignored Anakin for most of the video because Yoda didn't play a big role there, but that too was probably a mistake. I've heard Star Wars often referred to, and with good reason, as the Skywalker saga. So to us it's more obvious that Anakin is more important or special than the rest of the Jedi. However, Yoda's not like us. There's barely any reason for them to believe in that prophecy. Most of them, despite Qui-Gon claiming that Anakin was the chosen one, didn't want him to become a Jedi until Qui-Gon died, especially Yoda. Once Anakin became a Jedi, he treated him like everyone else, despite the prophecy, despite the great fear he sensed in him, and despite the Vader vision. Yoda failed the Jedi Order by remaining a servant of the Republic instead of the Force, by seeing problems but being blind to the cause, but he failed Anakin even more. When we met Anakin and it was revealed that he was the chosen one, soon afterwards, Palpatine found out too, and a competition started to get Anakin's allegiance. This is the only time in the prequels it feels like Sidious's plan could get screwed up. Sidious, instead of competing with Yoda this time, he was losing against Qui-Gon, someone that in terms of power was much weaker than Yoda, but Qui-Gon was someone Sidious didn't know because he doesn't like politics. He was someone that believed in serving the living Force instead of the Republic, and someone that tried to do what he thought was best for Anakin. Anakin needed a father, and he would have gotten one in Qui-Gon. Qui-Gon Jinn was the one Jedi Sidious could have never manipulated or tricked, and the one Jedi that could take his ultimate weapon, Vader, away from him. And so the Sith killed him. Not Sidious himself, but Maul. And with Qui-Gon gone, Anakin had no father. Yoda could have never taken that role, and neither could Obi-Wan, who due to being too young, became an older brother and a rival. Should Yoda be deemed guilty for doing nothing? Yes, in my opinion he should. But it even goes beyond that. In Revenge of the Sith, Anakin, troubled with the visions he had of Padme dying, went to seek counsel from Yoda. Yoda answered with wise words, but that was not what Anakin needed. Anakin wanted a way to prevent it, but he needed a friend, or a parent, or someone to say something like everything's going to be alright. Yoda's wisdom well true lacked some emotional intelligence. Palpatine, on the other hand, placed himself in the same exact situation. And his promised fairy tale, which I know is true but it sounded like a fairy tale, was instantly believed by Anakin. Anakin at that point had been asked to spy on a friend, had been not named Master, had hidden his relationship with Padme, and had lost all hope of saving her after talking to Yoda. And those things made him choose to try and save her by becoming Vader. And so Vader happened, the Empire happened, Order 66 happened, and Yoda was still defeated one more time before the movie ended, this time in battle, in a clash of the Ultimate Jedi versus the Ultimate Sith. But all was not lost in Revenge of the Sith, and Yoda decided to learn something else, this time from Qui-Gon, and he told Obi-Wan to do the same. The very first time we hear about Yoda in the prequels is in a very ironic way. Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon Jinn are having a conversation in which Obi-Wan is following Yoda's current mentality. Be mindful of the future. While his master Qui-Gon is telling him to follow a very different mentality. Be mindful of the present. Which was Yoda's mentality as we knew it in the original trilogy. There's no doubt that Obi-Wan and especially Yoda learn a lot from Obi-Wan's old master, the first being to return from the Force in the movies. And so in the original trilogy, Obi-Wan and Yoda waited much like the Sith did before them, with an objective much more important than the Republic ever was, to stop the Emperor, and they did so by trusting in the Force and waiting for another Skywalker, in the belief that he would defeat Vader and resist the Emperor. And from a certain point of view, he did. Luke, after learning from an even wiser Obi-Wan and an even wiser Yoda, faced the Emperor and Vader, and came out on top, the Ultimate Jedi versus the Ultimate Sith. And in a way, this time Yoda's legacy and Obi-Wan's legacy prevailed. Anyway, hope you enjoyed the video, leave a like if you did, comment and subscribe to help us grow a bit. See you guys next time.